Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a day, maybe it's today, when you will wake up feeling heavy, not tired from sleep, but tired from life. Your heart will feel like it's carrying bricks. And in that moment, every cell in your body will beg you to stay still, to give in, to do nothing. And yet, I ask you, force yourself to be active day by day, step by step, breath by breath. Because when you move, you're not just moving your body, you're shifting your mindset. You're telling the pain, you may visit me, but you will not live in me. You're whispering to the doubt in your head, I still have control. The mind is willing, but the body must follow. There is strength in deciding to get up, even if you don't know what comes next, even if you're still healing, even if you're afraid. Start small. Make your bed, walk outside, stretch your arms toward the sky, like you're reaching for a better version of yourself. And maybe you can't see her yet, but she's there, waiting. Embrace the pain that comes with growth. Activity isn't always about running marathons or conquering mountains. Sometimes it's just about walking through your own storm without letting it drown you. Routine becomes a silent healer. You don't always need loud victories. Sometimes just showing up is your greatest triumph. Let me tell you something. Don't wait for motivation. It's unreliable. Create momentum. Move not because you feel like it, but because you deserve to feel better. You owe it to yourself to try. No one else can give you the life you dream of. No one else can do your healing for you. But when you take one small action a day, you're rebuilding the very foundation of your soul. And remember this, your activity is your affirmation that you are still alive. You're not done. Your story isn't over. You're just in the part where the main character starts fighting back. So tomorrow, when life gets loud and your spirit feels quiet, get up, stretch, breathe, walk, write, cry if you must, but don't stop. Because every day you choose to be active, you're not just surviving, you're becoming. There are moments in life when your mind becomes a lighthouse. It shines with ideas, hope, and a longing to do more, to be more. You lie in bed thinking of all the changes you want to make, all the steps you need to take. You tell yourself, tomorrow I will begin. And in that moment, your mind is willing, overflowing with vision, hungry for transformation. But then tomorrow arrives, and your body, your tired, aching, uncertain body, refuses to move. And that is where the real battle begins. You see, there is a disconnect that happens within us, a gap between desire and action. The mind whispers courage, but the body echoes exhaustion. It's not always laziness. Often, it's fear disguised as fatigue or unhealed pain that weighs heavier than any burden we can explain. The human body carries memory, emotional, physical, even spiritual. When trauma or defeat sits in your bones, movement becomes a mountain. Even the smallest task can feel like climbing uphill with no end in sight. In such moments, we often blame ourselves. Why can't I just do it, we ask. But the truth is, willingness without action can turn into self-resentment. That is why it's not enough to simply want change. We have to force ourselves to embody it. We must guide our physical selves to match the strength of our mental resolve, not through pressure, but through patience, not with punishment, but with persistence. The goal is not perfection, it is alignment. A moment when what you believe becomes what you do. That alignment begins with the smallest of movements. Stand up, sit in sunlight, drink water slowly and intentionally. Let your body feel your intention. Let it learn over time that it can trust your mind again. So many of us are at war with our own selves, asking our body to follow a mind it no longer believes in. But you can rebuild that relationship. You can create a bridge between thought and action, one step at a time. When you begin to act, even when it's hard, even when your body resists, you are teaching yourself discipline, but more than that, you are teaching yourself self-respect. You are saying, I may be hurting, but I will not sit still in my pain. That message, spoken not in words, but in movement, is one of the most powerful affirmations you can ever give yourself. And slowly, as you push your body to follow your will, you become something stronger than just hopeful. You become unstoppable. The mind is a beautiful place. It dreams, it envisions, it imagines better days. But those days do not come to life in the brain. They are born in the body. You must act. You must get up even if you shake. You must walk even if you limp. Because when your body follows the mind, even with trembling feet, you begin the process of becoming whole. We often think that change needs to be grand, loud, visible, undeniable. We believe that if we don't make a massive shift, it doesn't count. That if we can't run, there's no point in walking. But real change, lasting change, never begins with a roar. It begins with a whisper. It begins with a single act of courage, so small, the world might not even notice. But you do. And that's enough. Because transformation doesn't need to be witnessed to be powerful. It just needs to begin. Sometimes the hardest thing in the world is not climbing the mountain, but getting out of bed. Not giving a speech, but saying one kind word to yourself. Not fixing your entire life, but choosing not to give up on it today. We underestimate these small choices because we've been conditioned to think in extremes. But healing, growth, and action don't live in extremes. They live in the quiet, often invisible moments when you choose to take one step forward when it would be easier to stay where you are. Start small, make your bed, drink a glass of water, write down your thoughts, take a 10-minute walk, call someone you love. These are not minor tasks, they are sacred beginnings. They are the foundations on which bigger victories are built. And every time you complete one of them, no matter how insignificant it may seem, you are proving something powerful, that you are still in control of your life, even if just a little. The beauty of starting small is that it gives you permission to be gentle with yourself. It removes the pressure to perform, to be perfect, to have it all figured out. You don't need to know where the path leads, you just need to take the first step, and then another, and then one more. The journey doesn't begin when you arrive. It begins the moment you choose to move. Even if you're slow, even if you stumble, even if you don't believe in yourself yet. And yes, doubt will be loud in the beginning. It'll whisper things like, this won't make a difference, or you're wasting your time. But here's the truth those voices don't want you to know. Every great life, every strong person, every inspiring story started with something small, a decision, a commitment, a single moment of bravery that no one else saw. So even if you're the only one who sees your progress right now, honor it, because small steps are not weak, they are wise. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until the plan is perfect or the fear disappears. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. A single act of movement, however tiny, shifts the entire energy of your day. And when done consistently, these small starts become unstoppable momentum. Growth is not gentle. It is not wrapped in comfort or decorated with ease. It comes dressed in discomfort, carrying lessons that don't always feel like blessings. And yet, we often chase growth expecting it to feel good, to be smooth, to come without friction. But real growth, the kind that changes you at the core, comes with pain. Not because you are weak, but because you are shedding layers that no longer serve you. And like anything worth becoming, it hurts before it heals. There is pain in realizing you've outgrown the version of yourself you once settled for. Pain in walking away from environments that made you feel small. Pain in confronting your own patterns, your own habits, your own truth. And yes, it's easier to numb that pain, to hide from it, to wrap yourself in routine and pretend you're okay. But every time you avoid the discomfort, you delay the transformation. You push away the very thing that was sent to shape you. The pain that comes with growth is not punishment, it's preparation. It is your body, your mind, your soul stretching beyond the limits it once knew. Like a wound being cleaned before it can be stitched, Growth requires exposure. It asks you to look at the parts of yourself that are wounded, broken, or scared, and love them enough to change. That process is not painless, but it is sacred. And in this pain, there is power. There is wisdom. You begin to learn that discomfort does not mean defeat. It means you're alive. It means something inside you refuses to settle. It means the fire in your soul is still burning, still longing, still fighting for a life that feels true. So don't run from the ache. Sit with it. Let it speak. Let it teach you what you need to release and what you need to rebuild. We live in a world that tells us pain is the enemy. But sometimes, pain is the only honest thing in the room. It shows up to remind us that we are shifting, that the old way no longer fits, that we're being asked to rise to a higher version of ourselves. And though it may feel unbearable at times, this pain is not here to break you, it is here to refine you. Like fire purifying gold, your pain is revealing your strength. So if you find yourself crying during your healing, trembling as you change, or aching as you grow, don't be ashamed. That pain is proof that you are alive, that you are trying, that you are moving. It means you're not stuck. It means your soul has not given up on becoming, and that in itself is something to hold on to. There is something profoundly healing about routine. Not the glamorous kind that is displayed on screens, but the quiet rhythm of ordinary actions repeated daily. Waking up at the same time, making your bed, drinking tea in silence, stretching your limbs before the day begins. These acts may seem small, even insignificant. But when your world feels chaotic, when your heart feels unsettled, routine becomes your anchor. It holds you when everything else feels uncertain. Healing does not always come in the form of grand breakthroughs or dramatic changes. Sometimes it arrives slowly, wrapped in repetition, a consistent morning walk, journaling before bed, cleaning your room, cooking your own meals. These rituals become sacred, not because of what they are, but because of what they remind you, that you are still showing up even when it's hard. Routine is how you build trust with yourself again after you've been lost in pain or paralyzed by fear. When the mind is scattered, when emotions are overwhelming, routine is what brings you back to center. It gives structure to your suffering. It tells your wounded spirit, here is one thing you can control. And in a world that often spins too fast, having something predictable, something familiar, becomes a quiet form of stability. You may not be able to fix everything, but you can do your part. You can take your medicine on time. You can drink your water. You can light a candle at dusk, and that matters. So often we dismiss routine as boring or rigid, but in truth, routine is a form of self-love. It is the way you nurture yourself without needing constant inspiration. It doesn't ask for perfection or performance. It only asks for presence. The beauty of a routine is that it doesn't require you to feel strong every day. It only asks that you show up, some days with energy, some days with tears, but show up still. Over time, something incredible begins to happen. The very actions that once felt mechanical begin to carry meaning. The cup of tea becomes a moment of peace. The walk becomes a space for reflection. The journal becomes a mirror to your evolving thoughts. These small acts start to stitch together a life that feels more whole, more grounded, more intentional. And without even realizing it, you start healing, slowly, silently, but surely. There's a reason why the word routine shares its root with the word route. Your routine becomes the path that gently leads you back to yourself. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand applause, but it saves you quietly every single day. In the stillness of your habits, your soul begins to rest, and your heart begins to repair itself, one peaceful repetition at a time. We often speak of motivation like it's magic, something that appears in a burst of light and suddenly makes everything easier. We wait for it like it's a sign from the universe, a permission slip to begin. But the truth is, motivation is not a reliable companion. It's fleeting, it's moody, it shows up on good days and disappears on the days you need it most. If you rely on motivation alone, you'll stay stuck in cycles of waiting, never quite starting, never quite moving. There are days when you wake up and feel inspired, and yes, those days are beautiful, but they're rare. Most days, especially in the process of healing, rebuilding, or starting over, will not come with a spark. They will come with heaviness, with doubts, with fatigue. And on those days, you must learn to move anyway. Not because you feel like it, but because your future is too important to leave on hold. You don't need to be motivated, you need to begin. What you need is momentum. And momentum doesn't arrive, it is created. It begins with a single action, no matter how small. Open your laptop, put on your shoes, wash your face, write one sentence, move for 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Because once you take that first step, something powerful begins to shift. Action leads to more action. Movement stirs something inside of you. You start to feel capable, not because motivation appeared, but because you moved anyway. It is in motion, not emotion, that progress is made. We tend to believe that we must first feel strong in order to act strong. But the reality is often the opposite. We act strong and then slowly we start to feel it. You lift yourself not through giant leaps, but through small daily movements done consistently. And each time you move forward without waiting for inspiration, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your hesitation. Momentum builds trust. It teaches you that you can rely on yourself even in your lowest moments. You stop depending on external energy and start generating your own. You stop saying, I need to feel ready, and start saying, I'll begin, and I'll become ready on the way. This shift changes everything. It turns powerless days into productive ones. It turns self-doubt into self-discipline. It makes you unstoppable, not because every day is perfect, but because no day is wasted. So the next time you find yourself staring at the ceiling, waiting for the right feeling to push you into action, don't wait. Act first, move first. Create your own momentum, one choice at a time. Because the people who move forward in life aren't the ones who always feel inspired. They are the ones who choose to move, even when they don't. There is something deeply sacred about trying, not succeeding, not achieving, not impressing, just trying. In a world that measures worth through results and outcomes, we forget that the act of trying itself is courageous. It means you haven't given up on yourself. It means that despite the heartbreak, the fear, the fatigue, and the failures, something inside you still believes in possibility. That belief, however small, is worth honoring. You owe it to yourself to keep it alive. So often, we give our energy to everyone else. We show up for deadlines, for responsibilities, for the expectations of others. But when it comes to ourselves, to our own dreams, we hesitate. We push our needs to the bottom of the list. We wait for permission to chase what sets our soul on fire. But let me remind you, you are not selfish for choosing yourself. You are not foolish for hoping for more. You deserve to try, for no other reason than because your life belongs to you. Trying doesn't guarantee a perfect outcome. In fact, it often comes with setbacks, disappointment, and vulnerability. But what trying always guarantees is growth. You become someone new in the process of effort. You begin to uncover parts of yourself that were buried under doubt or fear. Even if you fall forward. Even if you fail learning. And that is more valuable than standing still in comfort. You owe it to yourself to try because no one else can walk this journey for you. People can support you, cheer for you, even love you, but no one else can climb your mountain. That's your work. That's your right. And even when you feel unworthy, even when the mirror reflects back someone broken or tired or afraid, you must remind yourself that effort is not something you earn. Effort is something you choose. The truth is, trying is an act of self-respect. It says, I may not know the outcome, but I believe I'm worth the effort. It says, even if the world doesn't see my progress, I will show up anyway. You don't need applause to validate your journey. You only need the quiet conviction that your life matters enough to pursue, to rebuild, to rise. That conviction may whisper in the beginning, but with each act of effort, it grows louder, stronger, more unshakable. So take that step, even if it's shaky, Apply for the job, speak your truth, sign up for the class, write the first page, begin the workout. Try, not for perfection, not for performance, but for you, because you have carried too much, survived too much, and dreamed too much to let this life pass by unlived. There is a truth we often try to avoid because of how heavy it feels. The future is not some distant place waiting to unfold on its own. It is being shaped right now by your choices, your actions, and your silence. Every moment you live today is a seed planted in the soil of tomorrow. The way you speak to yourself, the habits you keep, the decisions you delay, and the steps you take, all of it is quietly creating the life you will live next. And that gives you power, even when you feel powerless. It's easy to believe the future is out of our hands, especially when life feels uncertain. But we are not as helpless as we think. The smallest decisions you make today, choosing to move, choosing to heal, choosing to speak kindly to yourself, become the foundation of your future peace, your future strength, your future self. That's the beauty and the weight of the present moment. It is both fleeting and forever. What you do with it matters. We often tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is a promise that doesn't always come. Life has a way of reminding us how fragile time is. That's why every later we whisper is really a delay in becoming who we're meant to be. And when we delay too long, we begin to drift, not because we don't have dreams, but because we've forgotten that those dreams require our presence now, not someday. Your future self is not waiting for a miracle. She's waiting for you to believe that your actions matter. He's waiting for you to choose growth, even in discomfort. They're waiting for you to treat today as the precious, unrepeatable gift that it is. Because what you do today doesn't need to be loud or extraordinary. It just needs to be intentional. That's how transformation happens. In the ordinary moments, you decide not to give up. Think of the person you want to become, the peace you want to feel, the strength you want to carry, the purpose you want to live with. That person is not built in the future. They are built in this hour, this day, this choice. And every time you act with purpose, no matter how small, you are writing their story with your hands, your feet, your heart. So ask yourself, gently but honestly, what will I do with today? Will I let it pass in distraction or defeat? Or will I honor it by using it, shaping it, filling it with choices that bring me closer to the life I want? Because in the end, the future is not something we wait for. It's something we build with every breath we take now. My friend, I won't tell you that this journey will always be easy. I won't promise you that every day will feel like progress. Some days will feel like you're standing still. Others may feel like you're moving backward. But I will tell you this, with all my heart, if you keep showing up, you will rise. Force yourself to be active, not because the world demands it, but because your soul deserves it. Deserves movement, deserves light, deserves effort. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here just to exist. You are here to live boldly, even through the fear, to try, even through the tears, to rise, even from your lowest. You may not always feel strong, you may not always feel ready, but action is not about waiting for the perfect feeling. It's about choosing to begin anyway. And in that choice, over and over again, you reclaim your power, you rebuild your confidence, you rise. So start where you are, start small, start tired, start scared, but please start. Because your future self is not looking for perfection. They're looking for proof that you cared enough to try, that you believed even a little that your life was worth fighting for. You don't need to rush. You don't need to be flawless. All you need is a willing heart and a promise to yourself that you will keep going, even if it's just one step at a time. Because the truth is, one active day followed by another becomes a life you can be proud of. And that life starts today with you.